Listen closely. Can you hear it? The ticking, the relentless rhythmic drumbeat of the clock. You believe this is the sound of your life passing away. You believe that the second that just passed is gone forever, dissolved into the void. You believe that the second coming next hasn't happened yet, that it is a ghost waiting to be born. You think you are standing on the edge of a cliff called the present, looking out into the misty abyss of the future, leaving the solid ground of the past behind you. This is a comforting lie. It is a persistent biological hallucination designed to keep you sane. There is no cliff, there is no river, there is no flow. According to the raw mathematics of physics, the future you are terrified of has already happened. The past you mourn is still happening. The universe does not happen one moment at a time. The universe is. It is a single, solid block of ice, a four-dimensional crystal frozen in eternity. And you are trapped inside it, preserved like an insect in amber. Today, we are going to dismantle your perception of time. We are going to look at the block universe. We are going to explore the physics that suggests your free will is an illusion, and your destiny is merely a memory you haven't processed yet. We must begin by destroying your intuition. You navigate the world using a concept philosophers call presentism. Presentism is the belief that only now is real. It claims the past is a book that has been closed, and the future is a page that is blank. But physics has no variable for now. Look at the equations. Look at Newton's laws of motion. Look at Maxwell's electromagnetism. Look at Schrödinger's equation for quantum mechanics. None of them contain a term for the present moment. They describe processes that work forward and backward perfectly. If I show you a film of a planet orbiting a star and I play it backward, it breaks no laws of physics. If I show you two atoms bouncing off each other in reverse, it is indistinguishable from reality. At the fundamental level, the arrow of time does not exist. The distinction between past, present, and future is not written in the code of the universe. It is written in the limitations of your brain. Albert Einstein, a man who stared longer into the dark than any of us, understood the weight of this. When his closest friend, Michel Besso, died, Einstein wrote a letter to the family. He did not offer religious comfort. He offered physics. He wrote, "For us believing physicists, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." Most people think this was poetry. It was not. It was a statement of fact. Einstein knew that in a relativistic universe, Besso was not gone. He was simply at a different coordinate. Imagine a map of the world. You are in New York. You know that London exists. You know that Tokyo exists. Just because you are not in London right now, you do not say London hasn't happened yet, or that Tokyo is gone forever. They exist simultaneously at different locations. Time is no different. It is simply a dimension like space. The year 1945 is at one coordinate. The year 2025 is at another. They exist simultaneously. Just because your consciousness is focused on 2025 does not mean 1945 has ceased to burn. Just because you have not reached 2030 does not mean it is not already built, waiting for you to arrive. To understand why this must be true, we have to look at the architecture of reality. We have to look at special relativity. Common sense tells you that now is universal. You imagine there is a giant cosmic clock ticking in the background of the universe. If you snap your fingers and an alien in the Andromeda galaxy snaps his fingers at the same moment, you believe you share that moment. You share a now. This is the Newtonian view, and Einstein killed it. Einstein proved that time is flexible. It is not a rigid stage, it is a fluid. And crucially, the rate at which time passes depends on how fast you are moving. This leads to the destruction of simultaneity. Let us conduct a thought experiment. It is the only way to see the prison bars. Imagine the universe is a loaf of bread, a long rectangular block. One end is the Big Bang, the other end is the heat death. Every slice of this bread is a moment, a now. You sitting there represent one slice. But Einstein showed that if you start moving, you change the angle of the slice. This leads to what is known as the Andromeda paradox. Imagine an alien civilization in the Andromeda galaxy, 2.5 million light-years away. Imagine an alien is sitting still in his spaceship. His now slice aligns with yours. In his present moment, you are watching this video. But now, imagine the alien gets up and starts walking. Just walking at a slow human pace towards Earth. Because of the vast distance between us, that tiny amount of motion tilts the angle of his now slice through space-time. Across 2.5 million light-years, that tiny tilt becomes a massive gap. By walking towards you, his now slice slides into your future. In his now, you are not watching this video. In his now, you might be dead. In his now, your grandchildren might be launching a colony ship. Whatever is happening in his now is real. It is physical, it is happening. And if his now contains your future, then your future must already be real. It must already exist, waiting to be intersected. Now imagine the alien turns around and walks away from Earth. The knife tilts the other way. His now slides into your past. In his now, he might be simultaneous with the building of the pyramids. Think about the horror of this. Depending on how a being moves in a distant galaxy, the events of your death or your birth or your lunch are all equally real to him. They are all there, all existing at once. There is no single now. There are infinite nows, all cutting through the block at different angles. And the only way for all of them to be equally real is if the entire block exists at once. The future cannot be unwritten if someone else has already passed it. This is not a metaphor. This is the geometry of Minkowski space. Hermann Minkowski was Einstein's teacher. He looked at the math of relativity and realized that space and time were not separate things. They were fused together, he said. Henceforth space by itself and time by itself are doomed to fade away into mere shadows, and only a kind of union of the two will preserve an independent reality. A union. A block. In this block, an object is not a point that moves. An object is a long, worm-like line that stretches from birth to death. Your body is a four-dimensional worm. One end of the worm is a baby. The middle of the worm is you watching this video. The other end of the worm is a corpse. The whole worm exists at once. You only feel like you are moving along the worm because your consciousness is a spotlight, crawling inch by inch along the length of your own existence. But the worm itself never moves. It never changes. It is frozen in the block. You say, I have choice. I can close this video right now. I can choose to turn left or turn right. Can you, or is that just another feeling? Let us look at the machinery under the floorboards of your existence. You are made of atoms. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Atoms obey laws. They are not magical. They follow the rigid rules of physics. If I hit a billiard ball on a pool table, I can calculate exactly where it will go. I need the speed, the angle, the friction, and the mass. If I have the data, the future of that ball is not a guess. It is a fact. It is determined. You are a bag of billiard balls. Your brain is a chemical reaction, a storm of electrons and neurotransmitters obeying the laws of electromagnetism. Every thought you have, I love this, I hate this, I will turn this off, is the result of the atoms in your brain colliding. And those collisions are the result of the collisions before them. And so on, back to your birth, back to the formation of the Earth, back to the Big Bang. There was a French scholar named Pierre-Simon Laplace. He imagined an intellect, a demon, that knew the position and momentum of every single particle in the universe at a single moment. Laplace realized that to such a demon, the future would be as visible as the past. It could calculate the exact moment you would take your first breath. It could calculate the exact moment you will take your last. It would see this video script written on the atoms of the Big Bang. If the atoms in your brain follow the laws of physics, then your choice to raise your hand is just the inevitable result of a chain reaction that started billions of years ago. You are not the driver of the vehicle. You are the passenger, convincing yourself that you are turning the wheel when the tracks were laid down before you were born. This is called causal determinism. It is the idea that every event is necessitated by antecedent events and conditions together with the laws of nature. And if you look closely at neuroscience, the prison gets smaller. Experiments have shown that your brain makes a decision milliseconds, sometimes seconds, before you are consciously aware of it. By the time you think, "I will move my finger," the electrical signal has already been sent. The chemistry has already fired. Your conscious mind is not the general issuing orders. It is the press secretary justifying decisions that the machinery has already made. You are watching a movie of your life and believing you are directing it, but the film is already in the projector. Now the skeptics will scream, "Quantum mechanics." They will tell you that the atomic world is random, that electrons do not have fixed positions, only probabilities. They will say that because atoms are random, the future is not fixed. This is the desperate hope of the human ego. We cling to quantum mechanics like a drowning man clings to driftwood, hoping it will save our free will. But look closer. Randomness is not freedom. If your choices are determined by a coin flip in an electron cloud, you are still not free. You are just random. A robot that acts based on a random number generator is still a robot. It has no agency. It has no soul. It just has noise. And worse, there are interpretations of quantum mechanics that bring the cage bars crashing back down. The many worlds interpretation suggests that every time a quantum event happens, the universe splits. Every possibility happens. In one branch, you close this video. In another, you watch to the end. In another, you never existed. If everything that can happen does happen, then there is no choice. There is only the exhaustive catalog of all possibilities. The block universe just becomes a block multiverse. A terrifyingly infinite crystal where every tragedy and every triumph is frozen forever. There is no escape. Whether the laws are rigid or random, you, the conscious agent, the chooser, are nowhere to be found in the equations. So why does it feel like a river? If the past and future exist together, why do we only remember the past? Why can't we remember the future? It is because of entropy, disorder. You are a biological machine designed to turn energy into heat. Your brain records memories by creating chemical connections, a process that increases the disorder of the universe. To create a memory, you must burn fuel. You must increase entropy. Entropy has an arrow. It points from order to disorder. From the egg to the omelet, from the building to the rubble. Your brain aligns itself with this gradient. You perceive time flowing from ordered past to disordered future, not because time flows, but because you are crawling through the block in that direction. You are like a person walking backward through a museum. You can see the paintings you have passed, but you cannot see the paintings ahead. But the paintings ahead are hanging on the wall just as surely as the ones behind. This is the tragedy of the human condition. We are cursed to experience a static reality as a fleeting story. We suffer the loss of the past, even though it is not lost. We fear the arrival of the future, even though it is already there. Even our language betrays us. We say time flies. We say time runs out. But time does neither. We are the ones running. We are the ones burning. The block itself is silent. It is cold. It is perfect. Think about the concept of destiny. In mythology, destiny was a magical force, but in physics, destiny is simply geometry. It is the shape of the worm in the block. If you could step outside the universe and look at the whole structure, you would see the shape of your life. You would see the twists and turns. You would see the joy and the pain, and you would see that the shape is complete. It does not wobble. It does not change. This brings us to the heaviest implication of the block universe: immortality. But not the kind you want. If the past is real, if it is just a coordinate down the road of time, then nothing ever truly dies. The child you were is still playing in the garden. The laughter is still vibrating in the air at that coordinate. The soldier dying in the mud of a forgotten war is still dying. The moment of your greatest heartbreak is not a memory. It is a fixed object in the geometry of space-time. It is eternally happening. We comfort ourselves by saying it is over. We stand at funerals and say they are at peace. Physics says they are simply elsewhere. Einstein found comfort in this. When he faced his own death, he did not panic. He viewed his life not as a vanishing spark, but as a permanent addition to the structure of the cosmos. He viewed existence as a four-dimensional sculpture. His life was a shape within that sculpture, finite in length but eternal in existence. But for those of us who have seen the darker side of history, who have seen the fire, this is a haunting thought. It means that every mistake you have made is etched into the structure of the cosmos. You cannot erase the tape. You cannot edit the film. You can only play it through to the end. The fire of the Library of Alexandria is still burning. The bombs are still falling. The tears are still wet. The screams of history are not silenced by time. They are simply moved to a different room in the house. A room we can no longer visit, but a room that still contains the scream. And what of the future? What of the room we have not yet entered? It is already furnished. The dust has already settled on the floor. The conversations you will have in 10 years are already hanging in the air, waiting for your voice to fill them. The technology you think you will invent is already sitting on the table. The person you will marry is already holding your hand in the dark. The moment of your death is already marked on the calendar of space-time. It is not a possibility. It is a place. You are simply traveling toward it at the speed of 1 second per second. There is a specific coordinate in the block where your heart stops beating, and that coordinate is as real as the chair you are sitting in. Does this make you feel claustrophobic? It should. We are creatures obsessed with agency. We need to believe we can change things. We need to believe we can fix the world. But if the block is fixed, then the world is not something to be fixed. It is something to be witnessed. It is a work of art that has already been painted. You cannot change the brushstrokes. You are the brushstroke. You are the paint drying on the canvas. And yet there is a strange paradox here. Even if the future is fixed, you still have to live it. You still have to make the choices. Why? Because the process of making the choice is part of the mechanism that fixes the future. You cannot just sit down and say, well, it's all determined, I'll do nothing. Because if you sit down and do nothing, that was determined too. Your laziness was part of the script. Your rebellion against the script is part of the script. You cannot step outside the block. You cannot look at the script to see what happens next. You are inside the ink. And this brings us to the concept of the observer. In quantum mechanics, the observer plays a crucial role. But in the block universe, the observer is a tragic figure, a witness with no hands. We see the universe through a slit in a moving wall. We call this slit the present. We see a tiny slice of reality and we mistake it for the whole world. We are like the prisoners in Plato's cave, watching shadows on the wall, thinking the shadows are moving. But the objects casting the shadows are still. The light is still. Only our attention is moving. Why did evolution build us this way? Why did nature give us the illusion of free will if it is a lie? Because a biological machine that believes it has choice fights harder to survive. If a zebra believed its death was written in the block, it would not run from the lion. The illusion of agency is an evolutionary advantage. It is the fuel that keeps the engine running. We are programmed to believe the lie because the lie keeps us alive. We are built to feel the flow because the flow makes us hunt, eat, and reproduce. But we have reached a point in our intellectual evolution where we can see past the programming. We have built mathematics that transcends our biology. We have looked at the code of the universe and found that it does not match the code of our brains. And this creates a dissonance, a deep existential vibration. We know the truth, but we cannot feel it. We know the future is fixed, but we still look both ways before crossing the street. We are a contradiction. A deterministic machine that dreams of freedom, a static object that dreams of motion. And perhaps that is the beauty of it. Perhaps the universe created consciousness so that it could experience itself as a story. Without you, the block universe is just a cold, dark crystal. It has no drama. It has no tears. It has no joy. But when you run a consciousness through the block, like a needle running through the groove of a record, suddenly there is music. The music was always there, etched in the vinyl. but it needed the needle to make its sound. You are the needle. Your life is the song. The song is already written, yes. The notes are fixed, but you are the one singing it. And a song is not less beautiful because it has an end. A song is not less beautiful because the notes were written before you sang them. The beauty is in the singing. The beauty is in the playing. So where does this leave us? You are a pattern in a four-dimensional crystal. Your story is written. The ink is dry. Does this make you feel powerless? Does it make you feel small? Perhaps. But there is a strange, cold freedom in it. If the script is written, then the burden of becoming is lifted. You are not responsible for the chaos of the universe. You are not the god of your own life, struggling to force the waves to obey you. You are the observer. You are the witness. You are here to experience the story that the universe wrote for you. You can stop fighting the river because there is no river. There is only the block. You can stop worrying about the future. It is not a problem to be solved. It is a landscape to be revealed. The mountain does not worry about the climber. It simply waits. Your future is a mountain waiting in the fog. You will climb it step by step, not because you chose to, but because that is the path carved into the rock. And somewhere in the coordinates ahead of us, the credits are already rolling. The final breath has already been drawn. The silence has already fallen. And it is beautiful. It is perfect in its completeness. It is a structure that needs no correction. So did you choose to watch this video? Or was this moment inevitable from the moment the first atom formed? Perhaps we are all just ghosts, haunting a house that was built before we were born. Perhaps the you that started this video is not the same you that is finishing it. You are just a series of slices, a series of frames on a reel, believing you are a moving picture. But the reel is sitting on the shelf. The movie is already in the can. The question isn't what will happen next. The question is, what is happening always? The question is, where are we in the crystal? And the answer is everywhere, always, eternal. Physics has taken away your freedom, but in exchange it has given you eternity. You are not a fleeting spark. You are a permanent fixture of reality. You are written into the fundamental code of existence. And nothing, not death, not time, not the end of the world, can ever erase you. You are part of the block, and the block is forever.